Bonjour, this is the Notorious DID. I am Valpray. Today I'm going to have a topic that actually was inspired by another creator on YouTube that I would like to mention. They are another DID system. They also have dissociative identity disorder. They go by the name the Anderson system. I will leave a link down below for you to check out their YouTube channel as well for their content. In their latest video, which I will also leave a link for, I will say that there was something mentioned about different flavors of ice cream. This hit home so well because when you have multiple persons within one body, we do have all different likes and dislikes. What does this mean when you go to get food? This means it can be a very interesting experience because sometimes you don't know what you particularly like. You're basing it on what maybe another author liked or multiple other authors like. So you naturally go toward what is familiar to the body, not positive as to why this is, but initially you do go toward what is familiar to the body, or at least I do out of the system. I cannot speak for the others, but I know that I've run into this several times since I came into play back in around 2014. So what's familiar to the body, you may not personally like. How do you find this out? After you've already ordered it. So say something as simple as ordering a cheeseburger. It's no simple for those of us who have DID. Why is this? Because like having individual people in a room, they're not all going to like the same kind of foods. They're not going to eat the same kind of foods. But you have this within you, this residual memory of ordering your burger a certain way. So I say specifically, I don't know of many of us, so I may have lost my train of thought a little bit because my wonderful donkey cat, as I like to call her, is running around playing with one of my other junior donkeys, and they're having a lot of fun, which I'm glad they're healthy enough to do, but I've had to pause and almost completely forget exactly what I said. But we were referring to burgers. So I don't know, there probably are some of us that would eat the burger however it comes, but based on however it comes, may have preference to what burger to eat. So being here in America, in the United States, that's no problem. If we went abroad, that may be a problem, because there are a lot of places that do not make the stuff specific to order, specific the way you want. A lot of countries, they have a certain way that they make a product, and that's the way they sell it. That's it. So we've not been abroad as of yet. However, I'm familiar personally with this. The body, I should say, has not been abroad as of yet. As you know, I generate from Catalonia, which is Spain, which in some countries, if you want to get around something, you may have to tell little fib with that you're allergic or it specifically make you sick or something like this. This is a secret. Don't let them know. You got to be a very good on point when you tell them this so that you really, really are. Because you can be found out. But anyway, in the United States, for the most part, almost anywhere you go, you can request things to be made specifically the way you want them to be made. So, say I go and, as I stated, for some reason there's a certain residual memory of what maybe one or two or whatever authors like, and say I've not had it, or say I've had it, but for some reason I still overlook the fact that I may or may not like a specific ingredient, and I still get it the way this other person gets it. And I do say person because each author is an individual person. So then I go and get a product. I get the food. Right now we speak of burger. So I get the burger. And there's specifically a few of us that like this says Laura. Okay, I'll take Laura for instance in this scenario. She like her burger with cheese, ketchup, and mustard. And she have, well, everybody has their own preference as to where they will or will eat. So she likes this, but like I say, like last night, take for instance, she was at the forefront and ordered dinner. She ordered it was Wendy's, which is fast food restaurant here in the United States, and she ordered with cheese, ketchup, and mustard. Well, there has been times when I go to order something, I order it the residual memory way, and I do not like it. What you're going to do at that point? Not much. You just learn about your individual self. That as an individual author, you do not like this. So you try to remember or recall. This may happen actually several times because sometimes it's hard for you to remember specifically what you like or you don't like. This may sound awful. That's because it is. Not being able to recall specifically how you like something and having to rely on like a main housed in information that misdirects you or misguides you, it happens. This happens constantly with dissociative identity disorder. Not just about food, which we're talking about right now, but about many things. So she ordered her burgers like that. Then she ordered a baked potato with the cheese and bacon and sour cream. Okay. Well, so at some point before the food actually gets here, then I come to the forefront. We were no conscious yesterday, but we did have several switches where we would go back and forth. I know specifically if I come into the body and it's been Laura, or if it's been Solora, because you can kind of pick up on the residue, the what's left, uh, almost like the residue, as we call it, of what's left of the prior altar. So you can tell kind of a little bit of the imprint of who was. So at that point, you cannot do nothing about what was ordered. You're going to have to deal with it. Well, after we had the COVID-19, the first time we developed what they call a COVID tongue. What means some people from it, um, they have no taste at all, which I feel really, really bad for them. And then some others have a taste, but the taste buds change drastically from what you're used to eating. And I specifically as an author has taken place. It's not taken place with all of the authors, I do believe. I don't think so. Because chemistry doesn't seem to make that much of a difference when you have dissociative identity disorder. Let me say that again. Chemistry does not necessarily make a difference when you have dissociative identity disorder, because I can have allergies to something that one of the other authors do not, and vice versa. Likes and dislikes, as I mentioned in this video. So the food gets here. The food has, as I said, the cheese, the ketchup, and the mustard. Well, ever since I had that COVID tongue, I personally cannot eat white bread. Something about it makes me ill. There's certain things. Onion is the same. Used to enjoy onion. Now onion almost tastes rotted when you eat it. It's not enjoyable. So I do know. Obviously, I have to remove the bread, and I don't mind the mustard so much, but the ketchup is not my favorite on a burger. Mustard not my favorite either, so a lot of times I just get plain, but so I have to try and get a lot of that off. Luckily, I know myself, having been at the forefront multiple times and somewhat constant for a while when I first come about, then I know a little bit better what I like or don't like, but even I can have issues. So you kind of get stuck with what the other person has ordered. And I personally, as I mentioned, I forget. I do know like the sour cream with the baked potato at all. I like the cheese. Bacon is another thing that I can eat properly, which should be a sin. So I used to love bacon. But then again, COVID comes from the devil. I'm positive. Rather it be on two legs or underneath the world. No, but definitely the devil's work. So obviously I try to eat around that and try do, but sometimes you have to eat what you don't necessarily like if you're going to eat. And another thing, as I mentioned, uh, the Anderson system mentioned, thank you, by the way, because it's helpful. Certain one thing will spark, and you'll take that spark, and you'll be like, oh, yes, that's a brilliant idea. Let me run with that, and that's exactly what I did. We were, they mentioned, they mentioned about ice cream. Now we all know there are a million flavors to ice cream. And there are some of us that don't like ice cream. I probably have the biggest sweet tooth of all of us. When I come about and I come about for a long period of time, I can literally pack on some weight because I like to eat and I like to eat sweets. And some of the others, I know they call me a fatty or whatever they want to call me because I eat. Well, I don't care. You can call me whatever you wish. If I'm hungry, I'm going to eat, and I have the blessing from God that I can do so. So I'm not going to overlook that blessing. But we all have individual, and I did. You catching me today because I did make the mistake. Tonight, my daughter, she wanted a small chocolate frosty from Wendy's. Wendy's is probably one of the closer fast foods. Is why it's just quick, and convenience is everything in the world today. But so in the back of my mind, I think, oh, chocolate, because I love chocolate personally. And so I was like, okay, I get small chocolate frosty as well. I had forgotten until I got the chocolate frosty. I do not like Wendy's chocolate frosties at all. So some of it were wasted, unfortunately, because I try my best, because I do not like to waste. So I do try my best if it's something. But with ice cream and you get older, you'll know as you get older, your stomach is that dairy. You better be eating something you like. Otherwise, you better pass on some of that. But that's for another time. So each of us have different flavors that we like. It's very difficult to walk into a store and for what another party, let me just say, another party sent me a message, a message to my email, and they referred to the first. Let me give a proper shout out. The party goes by Film Dork, DORK, and they call the regulars singletons. And we kind of like that. We kind of like those of you who do not have D.I.D. be called singletons because you are singular systems. You only have one party. And so I think we will probably start using that reference. So thank you, Film Dork. We appreciate that because that's very creative. We do listen to comments, and we also listen to mail-ins that are sent. So thank you all for any of those that you send. So those are who are singletons can enter a store and they know what they like, they know what they don't like, and they only have one realm of what they like or don't like. Now, if you have your family with you, of course, you're going to have multiple things based on because you have more than one family member. In our case, we have multiple, period, with different likes and dislikes. So when you go to make a purchase, it can be very difficult to figure out what to purchase. In the end, you normally just have to say, you know what, I am the one personally who is buying this. If they want something else when they come about, they're going to have to go and get it. Because otherwise, you're going to have a shopping cart full of stuff, and you don't know. I don't know what everybody else likes or doesn't like, and it would be a huge issue were we to take that upon and the waste. So we know do. But in the same token, when we walk into a store to get ice cream, for instance, you're staring at all these different ice creams and you're searching to figure out and remember specifically what you like. So there have been times that I just literally walked right out of the store with no ice cream. Because if I look at it and I think hard and I love chocolate, don't get me wrong. But for ice cream, I don't much care for chocolate ice cream. And there are many things that multiple of us enjoy. But sometimes we just have to go right past the ice cream because of all the different flavors, try to figure out, and maybe just get something that's got multiple different things in it in the box, like how you say, popsicle, icicle, popsicle, that has multiple flavors. That way, there's something for all to enjoy. This is usually how you get a little bit around that. Get stuff that has multiple of different candies or different flavors, because you may not eat them, you may go around a certain flavor, but then when somebody else come about, a different author, they made that and it's no waste, but that's the only way really. Usually if I buy something and it's no specifically for my daughter, and I'll just eat some of that, even things as simple as sherbet, I will buy the multi-flavor, because I specifically only like lime sherbet. This is a fact personally about me that you now know. I'm a lime sherbet person. But there are things Solora. I think Solora like the raspberry. She either like the raspberry or the orange. And one of them, either Laura or Solora, like the raspberry and the orange. But they don't like the lime, so sometimes it works out well for you. Because if they're at the forefront and then you're at the forefront, I still have my lime ice cream. Excuse my lime sherbet. Say and wait for me, cause they don't like it. Very rarely does this work out potentially well, especially with bags of different little candies, because Sometimes they like what you like. But that is a fact, an extreme fact about DID, that every single day you are make decisions, you attempt, whether you want to or you know it, or if your intention is, you're constantly weighing decisions based on multiple people and what they like or don't like. At least I am. I've recently try to limit that some, because then it's make it difficult for if I have things that are like specific. So I try, when I go to get something, when I go to get food, or I go to get anything, I try to base it on what I like or what I do not like. But as I stated, sometimes it's difficult because sometimes you have a block on what you like, and you have to be reminded. You have to be reminded by getting the wrong thing a couple of times, maybe more than a couple of times, and then eventually it sticks enough to where when you come to the forefront, I guess maybe because of the shell shock that takes place as you switch and switch and switch, you forget some little components about yourself, some little components as far as what you like or don't like, and things like this. But thank you for joining us here. Like, share, subscribe, comment. I do answer. I do appreciate any comments. I appreciate any emails, messages. I appreciate it. I am listening to every single person. So thank you. I personally, Valpray, I'm listening to every single person. I cannot guarantee about the others, but I can about myself. Also, hit the notification bell so that you can join us. Come back to see our Sutter community, the Notorious DID. For today, I am Valpray. Adios.